Yeah, I arrived prior to my arrival because I live down the street now, the left side. So I walk up there with a few persons, and then I enter the yard. A lot of persons were out, and then I saw the situation was that you have people who were community dwellers and some firefighters. They were trying to put up the fire, but actually by then the first fire truck came, but then the malfunctioned, so they couldn't pump the water up. So that's how the president came to the gate, because a lot of people wanted to enter, but the security was stopping them from entering the compound, maybe for some security reason they themselves had. So he came over and asked the security they should allow them to enter in. That's how they came in. The guys provided an assistant, and then they succeeded in putting the fire. And later on, another fire truck came. There were 2 fire trucks. The first one that came malfunctioned. The second one came at the end of the day. They asked for the owner of the house, the regular procedure. They asked few questions. They even asked for the origin of the fire. The president said he couldn't state to them at that moment.
Was he in the house?
He came. No, he wasn't in the house when the fire incident took place. Okay. When it started, he wasn't in the house actually. He drove from Riyadh and came and met the incident on.
Okay.
And himself and his wife and his son, they were all involved in trying to cut off the fire, directly involved, including the former first lady. Yes, I can tell you that for sure because I was there. So yeah, everyone was trying to provide some help.
Yeah. So the fire service team entered
They enter into the bedroom, okay, into the president's bedroom. And I don't think any one of the boys from the fire service team, what I'm hearing out there, I don't think any one of them will say that. But I can tell you they were receptive. I can say that for sure. Because there was even a team from LPRC. Okay? And the president shook their hands. The usual conversation when you meet George Weah. And they will tell you the truth, but I don't know where the bosses are coming from with all of these things. You know, it's misleading. It's not good for the public at all. I don't know where they're coming from.
Let's get it. But why did your party issue this statement, which, of course, is not backed by facts, it's not backed by evidence, when you say the Martin Coalition for Democratic Change strongly condemns the recent fire incident at the residence of our political leader and former president of the Republic of Liberia, George Weah. We regard this unfortunate incident as a premeditated attack on his life intended to undermine his safety and destabilize the peace of our nation.
The party been in government before. The party. Mm-hmm. There's a former ruling party. This is a party that has its own connects, has its own security details in terms of pieces of information. So the chairman spoke, and do I stand by the statement of the chairman from what I've heard or what I know? Yes, I do stand by the statement of the chairman, and I'm very convinced that it's premeditated. I'm very convinced about that.
So what, okay, is it that someone enter and put the fire there?
The reason why we are demanding a forensic independent investigation is to ensure that the facts are uncovered.
Yeah, but if you are demanding facts to be uncovered, then you cannot make a conclusive claim.
Because what we
a premeditated.
Let me tell you why we made a conclusive claim, because of what we know and what we've heard, and what in fact some officials of government, 1 or 2 or top level members of the ruling party or other things, some of the things they've been saying on social media, some of the posts they have placed out, some of the conversations we've heard internally, some of the interactions.
Any of them talk about burning his home.
But some of the things indicate burning. It's just that I don't know whether I have one of the posters from one assistant minister. His statement was very reckless.
But I know what you're talking about. No, it doesn't amount to
but
burning.
Excuse me, when we say burning arson, we know what we have. We know what we've heard. That means, let me be specific. We know what we heard even before President Weah. You remember President Weah was arriving into the country, and he wrote on his story, his WhatsApp story, that he's coming back to the country, Liberia belongs to. Because we heard about, we heard that the security, in fact, they were going to deploy and they were going to prevent people from having access to the RIA. In fact, they wanted to start that at the rehab era.
But that is different.
No. I'm just telling you some of the details, some of the information. We have people working in the security apparatus of the country. We have friends who work in government.
So
we listen to a lot of things, Judas.
So what could have possibly resulted to the burning? Why is it that someone threw something in? Or
when you say what could have, Judas, I will not be specific. I will not come lie to you yet.
But
I will
when
be specific.
When you say a premeditated attempt on his life, that means that someone put the fire there.
I'm convinced that they want to eliminate President. We have heard of even just the fire.
So it said that someone stood outside and threw something like a petrol bomb, or that someone entered
Judas,
and put the fire.
Judas, appropriately, when there is an independent investigation, I'm not close of the authority. The party will aid the investigation. The chairman is very determined to do that.
But wouldn't it be better to have expressed concern and call for a speedy, independent investigation without concluding that it was a premeditated attack on his life?
Look, I'll answer in this way. When the president went to the fire disaster at the Capitol building, he said it was arson. He was very clear. In fact, he called people hooligans. His exact words.
Didn't we condemn
hooligans who? Yeah, Judas, you can condemn the CDC. It's your fundamental right.
I'm saying, didn't we condemn President Weah?
It's a right to agree or disagree with us.
And you also did.
I'm just saying to you, I know for sure. What I know about the Capitol building situation, I wish they would have invited us there. I'm convinced that was orchestrated by the majority bloc and the government Republic of Liberia. I'm convinced. I'm convinced for many reasons. One, there were police assigned there up to now. None of the police officers or the commanders were being investigated. Besides that, as a former lawmaker, the Capitol building, the House of Representatives has its own security. The Senate has its own security. Besides the national police that were assigned there. So why were they not interrogated? Why were they not investigated? Why are they not being? The majority bloc locked that place and they had the keys to the place. And there's a head for the maintenance department of the Capitol building. The chairman on Rules Order Administration, Kole, okay, he's responsible for administration and taking care of that building. The committee on Rules Order Administration. Why they were not invited? Why they were not asked? Okay, why the government did not do a forensic investigation?
That is an entirely different situation.
No, I'm saying to you why I believe that the President Weah's statement was premature. It was order, and I condemn it. I'm telling you on the basis of what I knew on the questions that I asked. So if other people believe,
is it also possible now that your statement also is premeditated?
I don't believe so. I'm very convinced that our statement are exact, and we hold no apology.
But that would take us to the next point of this. So if you wanted a speedy investigation, independent investigation, why is it Fire Service has written in a release that on Wednesday morning of September 24, 2025, the fire investigators went to the 9th Street residence of former President George Weah to investigate and establish the actual cause of the fire, but they were denied entry into the compound?
Let me respond to that. Judas, good that you read that. Judas, the authority of the fire service are on the ground at night. 2 numbers were left with them. 2 numbers. Okay? The president provided them 2 numbers for contact because they wanted contact numbers. Okay? They went to the house of, they say, when we want to contact you, we'll contact people through these numbers. Did they contact the president through those numbers? But you go to the president's house, one of his homes, the one that got burned, and you met security there. There are EPS officers who are assigned there and police officers by this very government. And they said, no, we can't allow you to enter because we don't have any instruction because you didn't reach out to the contact number and the source of contact. In fact, they even asked who's the owner of the horse that night. And they wrote it down, the owner of the horse. The president said, I'm the owner of the horse. He gave 4 names. He gave 2 numbers to them. And they said, okay, these are the contact numbers. They said, yeah, these are the contact numbers going to contact them. So they're in the release. One thing they didn't say we got in contact with the contact numbers that were given to us, and they told us we have no answer. But if you went to the house and you didn't contact the contact person, for example, and the EPS would, I myself, yeah, if I go to that house, the EPS or the police would never allow me to enter until they get information in there if the president is in there. Okay? So since the incident, the president is not in the house. And there are contact numbers. So that what I'm saying, these things are being premeditated. What the essence of even issuing a press statement when you walk to someone gate, say, I want to enter in the EPS and police that are assigned by national government say, oh, but you can't enter the place. That just simple issues people can make all the big things in the country, Judas. It's very simple.
The statement also says Major General, pull that one up. The second one with the signature and the.
They
and
said
the
something
stamp.
about the conclusion.
Yeah. Major General Major George S. Davis, commander of the second shift, observed that the current was fluctuating at the time of combating the fire. The team believed that the cause of the fire was as a result of electrical shock. Did they say any of that?
No, they didn't say that, but just Judas, I just wanted you to read the first line that you just read. The Major General said what? No, now electrical shock. The Major General
observed that the current was fluctuating at the time of combating the fire.
At the time of combating the fire. And people say they didn't allow them to have access, not you. But did they get into combat the fire? Yes. Where was the fire? In the bedroom of the president. So where to combat the fire? Because in the public, people saying, oh, they deprived the people from entering the room, while the people didn't do that. So how did they combat the fire when the fire itself, in its totality, took place in the presidential bedroom? So how did they combat the fire? The release exposes the fact that they combat, they were involved into it. Now, the second thing here is that they said electrical what? Fluctuation or shock.
The
right?
current was fluctuating. So
they have concluded. So what were the essence of the next day going there to investigate when you have concluded? Read the conclusion, Judas. That is the second portion.
Yeah,
Look at
read it.
Judas, let's be real. I read it from your post. Okay? Because when I heard people discussing it, I just got furious. I say, well, how can you contradict yourself? People say how can you conclude that it was a result of electrical shock?
And so both sides are contradicting.
No. They say not both sides. We are consistent. We have said
you are contradictory. In that you have concluded it was a premeditated attack.
That's what I was saying.
But you calling for investigation.
So what the fire service calling for? That's why we say one independent investigation, because the fire service has concluded its investigation.
Yeah. So both sides.
And guess what?
Both sides
and guess what? No, not both sides. We heard already what the fire service will be coming our way. That's why I told you we got people in the system. We got pieces of information. We already heard that the fire service will be coming over with a release, with a statement. That night before we left the place, we heard already some people, the moment we got friends in the system, they say, oh, the people will say that electrical shock. Yeah, just leave that thing. Even on the spot, some of the people who came, say, our president, they say, oh, that they will say electrical. Now, they come up with a conclusion. Judas, let's be realistic. We are a political institution. They come up with a concluding statement that electrical shock. So the next morning, what are they going to do there? To go re-verify whether electrical shock. They have come up with a conclusion. So it's not realistic that this country has become so political to the extent that even people who should be professional have become tinted politically. So professionals, I'm saying all now, don't get me wrong, because some people are still professionals. Okay? But many of the professionals have become very political. Look at the release. Look at the statement of that they didn't have access to the bedroom, they were stopped, but they themselves said they combated the fire. Okay? And this is what they observe. Read it very well. So, Judas, for me, they are not independent, they are no more credible. They are incredible to even investigate and come up with any report, because they have concluded. And then they come and lie that, look, we went to the house, the people deny our access. They deny you access, so you came up with this release, right? That's what you're trying to say. But who deny you access? That the security officers. The security officers don't own the home. Call the contact numbers that were given to you that night. I was there. 2 contact numbers were given to them. I don't have to state the 2 individual contact numbers that were given to them. Okay? But that's the first family contact number they had. Direct. In fact, let me tell you this. I will say it. When the incident took place, the President Weah, who got the fire service number and called directly on her phone. She called directly on her phone. Okay? She spoke to them, and the president himself had the phone and spoke to them, and he got in his car and came. I would not lie on the fire service. When they came, the fire service too, the first car had come. We're not going to lie on them, because the boys too, they did extremely well, though the first car was malfunctional. Let's be realistic for the fact that at least they came, you understand, Judas? And then there was a second car that came, and the community people were very much involved into it. If they were not around, probably it were escalated, because the fire truck, it malfunctioned. They couldn't do anything. People had to take sand from the beach, take water from the pool, take water from the ocean, and then they had that ladder up there to the window of the room trying to put the sand and the water into it. Okay? So we're not going to, those boys that put their life on the line, the community people and some of the fire service, but we're not going to disparage them. I'm not going to sit on the show and discredit them. For me, it would be very wrong to do that. Okay? Because at that hour, they came up. I respect them for that. But the political leadership of many of the entities in government are the problem to government itself. President Weah is not just an ordinary person. That's why people talking about, oh, you know all about. This is the former president of the Republic of Liberia. Not only is he the former president of the Republic of Liberia, the government has EPS officers assigned there. The government has police officers also assigned there. So for the fact that the fire service can just conclude, that means that night they went in the room. That's what I mean. That means they saw everything that happened. According to them, it was electrical shock or whatsoever. That was the result of the fire. So if the fire originated from the room, if they didn't enter the room, how do we come up with results?
Now, again.
What do you think you want to ask me?
No, it is not about thinking. This appears to be like, okay, they did it to us when they were in opposition. For example, when the home of the Unity Party chairman got it, the initial thought was an assassination attempt by the government on his life and blah blah blah. It appears to me it is the same playbook that
you're trying to say it's a political reciprocity.
Yeah.
Cheers. We're not using the same playbook. You said something, you know, I can listen to you sometimes, Clarence, after everything. You talk about the image of the country. Nobody had damaged the image of the country since the Liberian Civil War compared to the Unity Party in terms of what they put out there. Just because they were not in power. If President Weah was a vanguard or traditional politician, then they were in chaos. If President Weah, with the numbers he has, with the kind of commitment, with the belief by the people, he just need to walk Broad Street, right up here. And just say, Gray, we're walking up Broad Street today, and we're coming down, we're going to the mansion, we're going to protest to Boyka Place. President Boyka went into protest action. You know what I mean? For Joe, we had to go into protest action in this country. But he's a very good man. I can tell you this for sure. He's a very good guy, person. Okay, if that his level of tolerance, that degree of tolerance he has, that peace nature he has, we're in trouble time like this. We're in trouble time like this. But because they did it to us, okay, we're very tolerant with them. We're extremely tolerant. You had me on the show yesterday, I was giving some solutions, and a lot of people call me and say, Gray, you should not have said it. You know how many people call me? Okay. So the United Party people call me and they say, you are right. Trust me, yesterday, some of my good friends in United Party and other people called me. Some people reached out to me, my messenger, I was shocked. They said, you are right. The country is very divided, Judas. There's extremely divided. You know, why you carry police people on the airport, you stop the people to smell notice. Then the police, 102 lying that the partisans wanted to enter into the terminal, Judas. How can you say that? The morning when I listened to him on Kevin Deming show, I was so disappointed. I was extremely disappointed. People that never had access to the entrance of the terminal that were distant away, almost 1 mile, to smell notice. And you lie like that? Is that how we're going to run the country? We shouldn't be running the country like that. You know, look at the police. The police should be more independent. The security apparatus of the country should be more independent. If you sit there and yesterday ask the whole arson issue, the issue of torture, the corroborative report from the police, from the hospital and all of those things, you think where the country is heading? The country is damaged. These guys are damaging the country, not just politically, they are damaging the country economically. And people said, and they're just looking. It's a disaster. The country is heavily divided. In any country with that margin, and any president that wants to be sincere, you will bridge that gap by bringing everybody. In less than 1 year, President Weah had called a national conference, Judas, with all political actors. Guess where? Moda, please, Bedekasa. Mm-hmm. Moda's place at Belekasa. Do you know that where I used to eat when I was in CDC? After the election, I never been there to eat.
Why?
The country is divided. Yeah, the country is divided.
During your 6 years in power, you used to go there to eat.
My nails, my eating, my everything. I taught his wife in school.
So then what happened?
Judas, the country is divided. Judas, when you go somewhere, when you string you there, you will know.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Judas,
but this is somewhere that used to go over 6 years.
Judas, you know what I'm trying to say? Judas, you are educated. Julius, when you enter a terrain, and the environment, sometimes the people who used to run to you when you reach there, let me tell you what happened. Something funny happened at the airport. So usually, I gotta put this thing on side. Usually, Julius, at the airport, even former government officials, when you go there, the VIP that I'm not talking about the new VIP. Even former government officials, they give you that courtesy at the airport. At the VIP, they give you that courtesy. So usually, since we didn't win the election, I don't go to the VIP. I just love to go straight to the ordinary. I don't want to embarrass people. So I went at the VIP. Everyone that used to run to me, all the people, felt good. EPS, NSA, they got NSA there, the EPS, and all those people were there, even the people who, they cater us in our place. When I just went to the gate, the other old man saw me, he damn. Very nice. I'm telling you, real life, he turned on my job. I said, oh, Chief, you see? I said, no, he's trying to protect his job. I deliberately got down from my car. Everybody was just like nervous, just looking that kind of way. I just smiled, say hi though. I said, I understand all my people. I see you here. Julius, when I go in the car and left, they started texting me, Chief, our job. Chief, you know this. Before my wife left, I took her to the airport again. Usually they can allow people to go in. Sometimes you escort the family in. They can give some dispensation. The other guy looked at me for a long time. And he said, soon you came the door, say you shouldn't enter here. Please, I beg you, Chief. I said, no, I respect the protocol. Believe me today. Yeah, I let them enter. I stood outside. I waited the longest. Then later on, one or two of them came to me and they said, Chief, but you can come inside now. They say, how they call it? I say, if they sure, I don't want to temper with anyone's job. But I just trying to tell you how the country, Julius, the country is divided. I'm telling you. I don't even go to any land ministry and agency. Okay, I've been to finance ministry one time when they were giving us some check for the past payment from the two government, or Ellen and Weah government, the state owe.
Oh, they were owing your lawmakers?
Yeah, Weah government was 3 months. And Weah government, I think, was in coupon or gas. Yeah, Ellen government was almost like 4 to 5 months.
Salary?
Yeah, salary.
Oh.
Yeah, they still owe up to now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they owe me from the 53rd and the 54th.
Now, let's talk a bit about the legislature. You also think, even though you are a former lawmaker, but there are issues, there are problems there, and you think there has to be some kind of whether it is a revival or a revolution or whatever it is, but something has to happen to ensure that the legislature really play the role that it's supposed to play, especially with the concessions all over and everything. Give us some idea of how these things are working.
You spoke of the concessions. Before I became lawmaker, I had a perception about concessions. A bad one too. It became established when I entered the legislature. And it's bad for the country. Serious. I will not take myself off because I was at the legislature. But let me just give an example. Before I entered the legislature, between 2006 to 2012, we have nothing less than 67 concession agreements. International standard 66 were described as bogus. 66 of those concessions, international analysis and all of those things. So that was the highest sale of our resources than any administration in 6 years. Whether top administration, I'm not talking about 27 years, I'm just talking about 6 years. And the country remains backward. You see nothing. You spoke about the Nigerian guy stuff. 250,000 Ahoy he used and got over $250 million. And the state giving. So when I came to the legislature, I came with this burning desire that I would not vote for any concession agreement until I see what it is. 6 years on or early, I did not vote for one concession agreement, not even the budget of the Republic of Liberia. Because, Firepoint, I wanted to say was 7 salary increment, the issue at University of Liberia, different things, so I didn't vote for the budget. But this is it. Block 13.
Tell us the Block 13 story.
That was your last story.
Yeah, it's important.
And I'm in the best position to say, some men and say, hey, Gray, You know, I'm blonde. They know me that I'm blonde.
They when I call you last night, eh?
No, they know that I'm blonde. And what I say, I don't have to lie. People can call. No, I don't have to lie. People may disagree. But Block 13, money exchanges. But our public record. Am I right, Mr. admitted that there were money given for their service, the pro bono. Yeah, he admitted in one of his interviews, one of his writings. Even Robert Salif, they admitted, they say the pro bono, the service, right? But in the House of Representatives, there are 4 persons I know. Gabriel Smith from Grand Bassa County, Beaufort Chambers from Maryland, Lede Muna Pena Nyomblo, and Representative Acarous Gray. 4 all disagree with Block 13. You'll be shocked. The presiding, you can determine that. Whisper to me, say, just put your hand up small.
That was, I think, Ellis Tyler.
I'm just saying to you, you will predict that. But guess what? That's why the shorthand vote came from. The late Judah Barron and Thomas Farah. You remember what they talk about shorthand vote? You didn't follow the legislature. That vote where you can just stand there and do that. So your friend can say he voted too, then you can go, how they call it. You understand? But we didn't vote. I stood my grounds. Why it is true that was challenging, because all of your colleagues will pressurize you, they'll come to you, just vote. Some people will say, oh, man, now you bail a bureau, you're too strong. I when I lie, the presiding officer, after everything, one day he drove to my house and told me, he said, you're very strong guy. He fell for us.
Was it huge money?
Yes. What I heard from my friends.
Like what? Because I know everyone can get it seen.
They gave people money in layer, and I know the lease was, I think, 26,000.
Wow.
Yes. They gave money in layers. Okay. But you'll be shocked. And I will say this. And you see, Judas, when I sit down, look at people, they say, oh, they person clean, they person this. Hey, God, they conjure for you. You see President Weah, he got some of the money.
Surely?
Yes.
What is what do you think the amount would be? Or?
I don't know the amount. But that day they divided that money right in capital building. He got some of the money for Block 13. That's why some people say you the presiding officer, he's just the vice president, he's sitting over the area. How can you accuse the Senate of being corrupt, the presiding officer? Judas, do you know the power of the presiding officer? Judas, you people need to discuss this in this country. The power of the presiding officer is not ordinary power. He's the president of the Liberian Senate. That's the only official of government in the executive that officially by the Liberian Constitution work in 2 branches of government. The vice president. They call him president of the Senate by the Constitution. He determines the agenda. In his absence, the pro tem. Pro tem means in the interim. That's what I mean about pro tem, in the interim. Okay? So, in the absence, the pro tem will preside. The vice president of the country presides over the Senate. The agenda of the Senate, that preliminary agenda to be put on the floor to be voted upon, is the vice president. The vice president, the people say, oh, because they say he got no voting right except the SOTA. Yes, it's true. Except the SOTA, but guess what? When the agenda of the House and the Senate is by rules. They have it by rules. You can't just prepare agenda because you want to put it up by rules. So, that presiding officer, if there's a debate for a concession agreement and the presiding officer believes that it's not in the interest of the country, and he looks at the floor, though they want to pass it, the presiding officer can say, time for the motion, and say, assist the motion.
And what will happen?
His sole authority, Judah wants to raise that motion for the passage of that thing. He said, excuse me, you made a motion already, he said, assist the motion. That means he tabled the conversation. And the reason why he will seize that motion to table the conversation, because in his wisdom or in her wisdom, believe that this thing may not be good for the country or bad to lobby the flow. Sometimes they will call for recess. Sometimes the presiding officer will call Acarous Gray and say, come. He say, proceed to the chair. You call anybody name and you proceed and say, call for executive, for example. And going to executive, now, people just think it's just negative. Sometimes it's to lobby the floor. Presiding get power. They say, "Look, gentlemen, we can't go that way." Or she will say, "We can't go this way. We got to look at it." And the presiding officer of the Senate, and we're talking about the Senate now, the vice president, the budget can be passed. The vice president can take that budget and hold that budget for 2-3 weeks, analyzing that budget, with all putting signature on it. And say, I will hold it for this time, I got to look at it because of this. Maybe it's temporary from the Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance. Maybe the people who will do the banding and all of those things. You have to be smart. You have to look at everything. Your office people got to look at it. So sometimes the vice president may say, no, I disagree with it. Though it will pass, but I disagree with it. They will look into everything. Sometimes you can worry. You don't have to sign. The people say, soon the people pass it, the vice president can sign. You get that to sign. You can't reject signing. No. If you feel that it will damage the country image, don't put your signature on it. In your absence, the pro tem can sign. In the absence of the pro tem, the chairman on executive can sign. That was some vice president, usually, sometimes they want to evade things, they usually let the pro tem preside. If you notice it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes they want to invade. Sometimes they say, they want one woman to be on it. So they allow the pro tem to preside. Sometimes they stay away. Sometimes I'm not saying all of the time. Okay, so that power, that authority, there's no way success bogus agreement can be signed or a budget passed and you exclude the vice president of the country. And with the vice president's signature on the budget, you know what I mean? The signature. There are 4 signatures from the Senate and the House combined. The Speaker and the Chief Clerk on any document, any legal document or bill or resolution, any law that going to the office of the President, the Speaker and the Chief Clerk will sign in the House. In the absence of the House, the Deputy Speaker will sign. In the absence of the Chief Clerk, the Deputy Chief Clerk will sign. In the absence of the Deputy Speaker, the Speaker absent the Deputy, then the Chairman on Executive. That's where you used to see me presiding sometimes. Okay? Then, similarly in the Senate, the Vice President and the Secretary of the Senate. In the absence of the Vice President, the Pro Tem, then before the Chairman on Executive, and so on. That's how it works. So your signature is affixed to these concessions. Your signature is affixed to this document. How can you exonerate me? How can you look at me and say, Acarous Gray? Okay, we exonerate you. But Judas, I was sending you some video. I can't blow my own. Firestone, Ireland. I disagree with Firestone publicly on the floor. I said, no. Firestone got a concession agreement. They added another, I think, 37 years there. They bought this place. See the way they treating our workers. I think there were 347 or 67 workers they wanted to take off jobs and all of those things. I even went on the VOA. But guess what? I will say it publicly. I will always say it. These embassies around the country, they protect their citizens and their investments.
Yeah, that's clear.
They are very clear. Even if the investment is exploiting the country, be it the Chinese, be it the Americans, be it the Nigerians, I'm telling you, be it the British, they are clear about protecting their citizens and those investments that come to invest in the country. So sometimes that's where you see political arm twisting at the presidential level. That's why you see some lawmakers say, my man, 18 years old, look at it, me, I won't go to America, me, I want to deny me visa. People are very naive. I'm telling you, right, people are very naive. Okay? People are extreme. It's not a lawmaker. Somebody, oh, Gray, you talking that they want to develop the U.S. ambassador, Lena Thomas Griffey on parking lot here in the country. You're talking, I said, no, in America, we don't do this. You're fighting like brother homes are built all parking. Not everywhere is supposed to collect money. Right on Capital Baba in front of my place there. You get road going in the Raspin Valley. You get road going in between the houses. So where people park their cars? If they're living into the communities. I see people pay on the fast end when we're there in Upper Daddy for 1 hour. 50 cents for 1 hour, charging the poor $5 US. I said it was unacceptable, but they were publicly. My friends were saying, oh, you're taking risks. Sometimes there's a concession, they say, oh, the American people interested and that the Chinese people interested. You know that this is wrong for the country. That's why I say we need a revolution at the legislature. And don't be surprised. Nobody should fool say good people are not there.
So what
there are some good people there.
Yeah, there are some good people there.
Yeah,
but
there are
how
some.
do they get drowned?
Nobody. Yeah, because The fight, some of the reasons are very petty. Some of the, a lot of people say, you see, most of my district people, you open the land, some of them call, when you come to me, I get it, I tell you, I don't have it. You got to learn how to tell people you have it, and how to tell people you don't have it. The fear of being re-elected, of not being re-elected, is a problem at the legislature. The fear of not being re-elected is a problem. Who told you? One of my friends, United Party, can be laughing at me. Even last week, you were laughing at me. Who told you that we didn't pass some of the best laws? Who told you I didn't sponsor some of the best laws? Who told you, Judas, that since 2006, that if you can't 10 lawmakers already sponsor bills and pass bills, I'm among them. Even the first 5, if you can't. Who told you? Talk about the code of conduct, Judas. Talk about nepotism. Judas, talk about dual citizenship. Talk about tourism. Though we didn't pass it, we left it there, send it out here, and all those things. Just go on and on. Talk about the Domestic Violence Act, who raised the motion. Talk about the Decent Work Bill, for example. The fight, the school, it was time when we were championing the presiding how to bring it. There are a lot of things. But Judas, the thing here is that also bring you people in the media, Judas. Judas, how many times, maybe you want to do, how many times do they praise the lawmakers who stand up for a cause? Look at Mita Steel. You were just talking about it. Mita Steel. Mita Steel document came to us from the executive in my own government. What Mita did not do, what some senators did not do, you know, Megan to all. We stood our grounds at the Committee on Investment at the House of Representatives. We stood our grounds that Mita will not be passed.
I was part of the legislative team when they carried also media people at Mita's facilities.
You know what they started
in Nimba.
Yeah, you know
they were even angry at seeing us, the media people, going with the legislative team.
When recently?
No, I mean during your days.
Yeah.
When now Vice President, then he was Senator Jeremiah.
I think that the Senate sent your own, that the Senate they was not a horse.
Yeah,
the Senate. Guess what? But the Senate agreed. We were adamant. We said we never agreed. The people of Nema County, but then they have in our mind, they continue the Lamco area and all of those things. They brought containers, putting people in containers to work instead of renovating the buildings. They have commitments to the government, the Republic of Liberia, and all of those things. Then the issue of the railroad, they wanted exclusive right to A, and Liberia was in a strategic position that could get benefits from two other companies plus Mita Steel. We are currently now in one of the best negotiation position. We only need good negotiators. That's all. You cannot sell if you sell yourself to me that you are lost on some things. There are other companies there. You got to be clear. HPX and all of those people. You got to be clear with Mita. You got to be clear with HPS and everybody who wanted it and come. Labro will benefit more because of our strategic position. Because of our strategic position, Labro will benefit. And I know about our strategic position. And people are saying, oh, you know, Mita build schools. You know, the same people all over the country. You know, they did this. I said, no. And are the same people when they were, how they call them? Asalo Mita and what the other group name first that came, that get the pickup. Meta Steel and all of those things that get the pickup to the people. I say, are the same people. So you think the 5%, you know about the pickups that they get to the lawmaker. So they just call the lawmaker together and get them the pickup. The presiding officer don't know nothing about it. They just disrespect them. So you really believe that? You remember the pickup story? So we rejected the company. The new MDA. They need it. They're not going nowhere. They need it. So the government needs to play that hardball game in the government. What Nyantwan is doing, I just hope he will keep on course and he will not come under pressure. Because sometimes when you're in this fight, even the locals will come to you.
Yeah.
No, the fight that he's in is not an ordinary fight. I can tell you that for sure. I must appreciate him publicly. But in this fight, even some of your friends in the ruling party will challenge you. I saw him responding to Bega Jariba recently. Some of them, because now, look, even the current chief of staff of the president, where he will be that still.
Yeah, the minister of state.
Around the presidency, there's a fight with HPS and Mita Steel and another company. There's a big fight now around there. So, like you're talking about bastardize our resources. We gave our resources. I said, oh, you get initial money to go, and the country ain't get money. People ain't get money. We ain't get millionaires, and to go tap into the resources to create new millionaires. So the people that can, so they gave the country peanuts. Look at that Nigerian guy story. Chilo, just imagine for the fight that guy took away millions of dollars to bring that man because he sponsored Joseph Baga campaign. Amen, Judas. And you know he was around for Tantan birthday when they were having that foundation program. He was here. Who going to negotiate? Christopher Neal, Jacob Kabakoli, then McCarthy got again the mansion to they call it rehab mansion. He used to be deputy minister under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Okay, in the most of the bodies involved into it. These are people who got a whole mineral map of the country just sitting on top of it. When people come, they say, "Oh, we want to see the mineral map, want to know this, that." They just sell it to them, and the investors pay them. That's how the country is being run, and these are the people who beyond Joseph Boga, his son. I don't want to talk too much of people personal. They passing around, traveling all around to go make deal with Nigerian men and bring the Nigerian men ready to can steal all money. Okay, they passing around taking money from investors. Is this how we want to run the country? And when you talk, people say, "Oh, you were there." Yeah, it's true I was there. I would never exonerate myself. I would take the latches. Okay, what I did, I would say, but I would not run away from what I did in government. I would never ever in my life, Judah, shy away from my position, from what I said and what I did. But the population, you people also share the burden. Somebody paid 2 hand point in one district, you say the person really Zegwe, you go in there. They don't have characteristics of leadership. They don't have the place I had, not just the people, but it's degrading and disgraceful that the caliber of representation in the country is reducing. But speak to some of the senators, red men in the Senate, some of them, they gave up. Forget about the horse, for that place rotting already, nothing there. In fact, the men, the gas at the work, or then how they get gas down. Well, people had to go to work, or how they call it, that place rotting, the horse represent. Go to the Senate, red men in the Senate. People went there, what are you like on the Amara corner there, Emmanuel Nukwe there, or Erin Snow there? Speak to some of the people. When they finish talking about the Senate to you, it's just disgusting. Okay? It's extremely disgusting to the country. Okay. Especially under this condition where people claim to be very educated, very professional. The last time I came here and I said, and you know, I told you how much we were making. Yeah. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I sent you the US dollar component, or 80%. Yeah, and I sent you the Liberian dollar component, or 20%.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. Okay. The US dollar 80% is $5,322. That is why your CDC government brought it to, right?
Yeah, the net, that is net.
Yeah, then the
Liberian dollar.
The Liberian dollars is 20%. It's 248,670.
Yeah, just divided by 186. The rate of 186.
When you change it, it's like 1,300.
Yes, add all to a 6,000. I think 650 something, or something like that. That's what we're getting net. The whole country don't know. Every month I net there. Okay, that's why we left there. You think if our colleagues were going to allow us to tell the people and run massive PR, the legislature does not have a good PR that can tarnish the reputation. Now that something good can come from there sometime. But a PR problem, the money is there. Pay money for PR. Do it. Because look at that money, Judas. Calculate that money. The net income is less than 7,000 US. Mm-hmm. That's what we left it at. But everybody.
And you met it at what?
I met it at net was 8,000 and some more dollars.
Yeah, during the leave time.
Yeah, okay. It was 8,000 and some more dollars, between 8,000 to 9,000. Yeah, that was net. Yeah.
And then your time you drop it down to 6,000.
Yeah, no, 6. I think 6.5. You can call the exact number. We got it some kind of way. The 20% and the 80%. So yeah, we drop it below 7,000. That's what we drop it below. So imagine that. How many persons know about that? But have they increased it? Have they increased the per children? Because we have per children as $2,225, we drop it to $1,225. And then they carry back up again. Huh? Yeah, the last year it was carried back up to $2,225. The last year, but these people had carried the last year, 2023 election year, all colleagues were complaining a lot. Okay, I'll be factual with you, but these people are carried to $3,000 and some more dollars now. I can confirm that to you.
Wow.
Even yes, they carry to 3,000 and some more dollars. That the medical and constituency that were 10,000 in totality and taxable is 15,000 now.
Oh wow, this is interesting.
That's something I'm telling you because I know. Okay, there's something I know. But people say when you say, they say, Carol, let me tell you this, Judas. You know what our colleagues used to tell when you go in the district, they will ask you say, what kind of clinic you be? They will ask you what kind of law you pass. Do you know that some of the motors and lawmakers? They ask you, they say when you pass law, they will ask you in the community, they will ask you, what did you bring? How can you pay my horse? How can you pay my school fees? How can you do this? Is open up pass one law in the last 20 years? No, wait, I'm not being personal. I gotta say it. I beg you, just wait. Call them. The vice president in 12 years, he passed one law that he sponsor and pass in both houses that he can hold and walk with. Nyomdi Kanga pass one law that she can handle and say they could or condo Acarous Gray sponsor, just sponsor. You know it? I'm not talking about co-sponsor like your friend get the law you signed, the only just law. I'm one of the co-sponsors. Okay? And Darrow, they don't pass one law. The cardinal function of a lawmaker is to make law. Right? I'm not being personal. I'm just asking you. You made somebody vice president of the country, he didn't pass one law. The whole country vice president never passed one law. The whole country pro tem never passed one law. Children, count the number of years. Why are you voting? On which basis are you voting? What the public hospital or the public school they build, besides their personal schools? Most of the people, when they leave that place, the school, they pay for them. When they're going out of schools, there are colleges. It's not for you. Then you clapping at somebody Bay Hospital. Then you clapping at somebody Bay, how they call it when you became lawmaker. Is that no? Then listen, when Acarous Gray Bay Horse, you say you were poor, you went to the legislature. But when the other men who had gas station, one small gas station and selling gas on the sidewalk and changing money, and have one motel in Nima, it paid one hospital that cost like $1 million. You see that was big name. The one I listened to Musa Bede last time was just laughing. When the other men built one big college, all went to the legislature the same way. You say, oh, yeah, you're doing business now. And before you begin lawmaker, before you build those places, most of the people who work in the country that were lawmaker, most, I'm not saying all, and they became lawmaker before you heard about them being in school. And you heard about them being in hospital. I emphasize on school and hospital because they put these schools and hospitals in the budget. Yes, they put them in the budget at public record. There have been reports. Public reports by credible organizations. So, do they love you?
Let's take
what do they stand for?
That's
the question you should ask yourself. But like I said, Judas, like I said, criminals are celebrated sometimes. Blackmailers in the media to a greater extent are celebrated than the credible ones in the media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When you say you see you agree with me, they are celebrated. Okay? If you brought more BM to put money here, now they will vote for the BM. Sure, they will beat you in your election, you will not believe it. But the BM going there to go get money, there are BMs in the legislature. There were people who are doing BM bidding in the legislature. Yeah, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, right here, in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, in Ivory Coast, they will never vote for Acarous. They will never vote for BMs. They will never do it in their lifetime.
Let's take a few calls. Time is already out. 777-700-995, 599-995. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Good evening, Judas.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. This is the voice of Elijah Nwopuno, and I joined the conversation this evening from Jason, my 6 months ago County. Judas, let me appreciate the General Institute for speaking to some of these issues. And frankly speaking, I think the General is making sense because the kind of responsibility of a lawmaker is to make laws and also the oversight responsibility. But then somebody will come in the committee and just build a 2-room toilet, and then they put their name on it and the big money around with it as if to say that is an achievement. No, people pay in schools and we change it. I think that's the personal property. We have that safe here. You have no access to it.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's take others. We'll just make it brief. Someone is concerned here. Is it one person that can pass law, as Representative Gray, former Representative Gray is talking about whether they pass law? Is it one person that can pass law? So you can explain better what you mean when you say pass law. Let's see. There is a comment here. Someone wants to know which law the former President Weah passed before when he was in the legislature before becoming president. Someone wants to know that. Let's go international. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for allowing me to contribute this Law for Julius, and I call from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Go ahead.
Listening to Acarous Gray in there, like I often say, he and I have often had our own fair share of the battles, but this man, in his wisdom, served as a true patriot and a true advocate. To be honest with you, like I said to him before, I would prefer Acarous Gray being an advocate on from the outside than being in there as compared to being with the rest of those guys over there, because it seems like everything we are hearing today, I really wish we heard these things while he was serving. And I often made this point as often as I can. Liberia House and the Senate, they are the biggest problem for Liberia. Until we can get reasonable people to represent Liberia, we will continue to struggle the way we're struggling until we can get reliable and patriotic citizens. Today you see Prince Stowe is doing contrary to what he claimed he would have done had he ascended to that position, and others like Darius Dillon and other people are going contrary to what they were promised. Some of us who actually supported and promoted Darius Dillon today, we regret, terribly, to see that they are doing things like that. So I really hope Acarous Gray will stay where he's at and continue to fight from the outside and make sure he can hold people accountable, because he came from under the water. He knows what's going on over there.
Okay.
Thanks to my buddy Acarous Gray, man. People call you my buddy now because we don't fight no more. So I called you my buddy.
Okay. Thanks so kindly. Folks, okay, let me squeeze in Kelvin Matadi here of the MDR. Just 30 seconds. You already are out of town.
Yeah.
Kelvin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Julius. So for me, I called today to just ask Acarous. Fundamentally, I don't know what's happening, because each time he appear on the radio is Jeremiah Kun. Jeremiah Kun came to the legislature.
But ain't Jeremiah Kun the vice president?
You see, I get just a few seconds.
Yeah.
Let me make my point now, brother. He came to the legislature with a record of a businessman who even went to LPRC. The remittance and his record are there. He came with over 300,000. All right? But unlike him, he came empty, absolutely empty financially. Acarous Gray never had anything. I used to change money at Johnson here. He used to kind of sit with me to even pay away. Beyond that,
Where?
there was a gentleman,
Where?
the old man, at the LBO, the Legislative Budget Office. He, Acarous Gray, he claimed that he clean. When Julius Caesar died as chair on executive committee, they gave him money for the burial of Julius Caesar. You know what our brother did?
How much?
30,000. He took almost half of the money. The family got angry. Then he said the thing in the city every day. He told about Jeremiah Kun. You don't have the face, because when you were in the legislature, you were not on the radio as you are.
Thanks so kindly. No, we used to have him on the radio though. Yeah, he may not have said deeply some of those things. So that's how we will end it. You can respond to the question.
But you see, that the same thing I'm talking about in Liberia. You can sit down and lie, say, I go to ERWA Junction. When I became lawmaker initially, I didn't even know you. I didn't even know. You know when I got to know Kelvin? When Eugene Facon and Snow and Kevin had that issue with J. Eugene Facon, it's because of him that I raised the motion to J. Eugene Facon, a certain minister of the government under the CDC administration. I raised the motion. Snow always advising him, calling him to tell him that he's a liar. So that is how they got it. But somebody asked the issue whether one person can pass a law.
What you saying? These people they pass law.
No,
what did you mean?
You use your influence when you sponsor a bill. Okay, Judas, you look for co-sponsors. You lobby the flow. If the bill is good, the bill will get passed. That's what I'm talking about, and it's very important.
Oh, so and so what you mean? They did not put forth any law to be passed.
That the sponsor.
Yeah.
The sponsor.
Okay.
That were even passed. You know, you're talking about 18 years. Judas, that be raw 18 years.
Okay. Someone asked about former president.
No, that when I come here, somebody comparing 3 years to 18 years. Somebody comparing 3 years to 18 years. I was specific on the number of years, 12, 18 years, and all of those things. And for Judas, in essence, I want to say thank you very much for the show.
So it means that former president, we are in his.
He sponsored the LDC bill. I know about that very well. The passport issue that I talk about on his oversight, when they were charging her, he raised the issue at the Liberian Senate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I can remember.
Maybe
that
you
one.
can. Yeah, he raised the issue for them to
remember
get
that one.
passport at a lower cost in this country today. And the representation to ECOWAS alone as head of delegation, okay, and ECOWAS intervention, aid and help to Liberia as head of delegation representing Liberia and ECOWAS, that is sufficient enough. Okay, what Erin Snow is doing today, you may underestimate it, but you can cover ECOWAS. Sometimes you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so these are things that people want to make comparative analysis. Okay, yes, it's very wrong, but in essence, I want to tell you, I'm not a perfect person, but at the legislature, just take 20 Acarous Gray there, you will celebrate. I'm not being
Just take 20 Acarous Gray.
Just take Judas. You everybody 20 that decide I will go this way, and I must set on the show today to appreciate few of my colleagues that work on the committee on investment. Clarence Massaquoi, from the current ruling party, he stood his grounds. Abu Kamara, Vincent Willie, and a few of the people, I can tell you, they stood the ground. Those young men, we stood together, we almost took an oath that Mita will not pass on our dead body because of exploitation against the Liberian people. Though Clarence is the LTA boss now, but I will salute him any day. He was courageous enough. Vincent, a young guy like that, he have benefited more than what? He have benefited more than 3 years pay. Why are you talking so? You know what it takes to stand up? Judas, I'm sorry, but again,
thanks so
such is life.
We'll have you in the near future. That's how we go. My name is Julius J. We are out. The news is up next. Tomorrow, Chokon Urapu will be here. We're out.
From the Golden Sand